Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of Rugby Ascendant. It's April 3rd, 2020. The world finds itself in the grips of the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. As it spread around the world, it's had a tremendous impact on the rugby world thus far. We've already lost every major competition as rugby is shut down around the planet, and this has already had consequences for weak rugby unions. USA Rugby last week filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection and is the first casualty amongst national rugby unions. Who's next? Rugby Australia is also in desperate financial situation at the moment. Others have many problems in the past. We've seen Zimbabwe on the verge of collapse financially. And the South African Rugby Union, or SARU, has also faced a number of challenges the last several years when it comes to finances. However, just this week, Coach Dobson, John Dobson from the Western Province and Stormers assured supporters that both WP and SARU have taken steps to ensure that rugby in South Africa is tided over during this difficult time. While I appreciate the sentiment, and I am a Stormers fan through and through, I have to wonder and question how serious we can take that. The lack of transparency when it comes to rugby in South Africa, not seeing their balance sheets, makes one nervous. And I would hope that that is the case, but we shall see. Meanwhile, in World Rugby, Sir Bill Beaumont and team have started planning for the worst calamities possible. They're working with the wealthier rugby unions like England Rugby and others who have financial resources that could potentially help the minnows survive this crisis, but we shall see. World Rugby itself is in decent financial shape, having made some money off of Rugby World Cup 2019 and also saving their resources over the past few years that they too potentially can help others get through this crisis. But the real challenge here is that what happens if this goes beyond the summer? We've lost so many competitions. Major League Rugby season canceled after just 5 games. Very disappointing for a lot of fans here in the U.S. as the professional sport is getting traction finally. Major League Rugby in its 3rd season finds itself after 5 games canceled. The Guinness Pro 14 series in Europe, primarily in Ireland, but in Europe and South Africa, is canceled as well. The Six Nations, the Hong Kong Sevens, the Singapore Sevens are postponed to October. We're just losing rugby all over the place. What happens when it extends into the summer? Well, World Rugby has to make a decision very soon about the summer test series as the European nations head around the world, head out for the summer test series. England headed to Japan. And this will be a decision that will be very painful as those series are quite a financial boon for rugby unions around the world. So we'll see what happens there. Well, here we are just a few short months into this crisis, and the impact on the rugby world could not be more severe. The potential for this could be catastrophic, and now is the time for rugby fans, rugby supporters, to get behind your unions. If your unions take donations, it's probably not a bad time if you have the resources to help out and donate some money. We've also seen some calls for drastic action. If you look to Wallabies legend Tim Horan, he's recently pointed out that rugby players are going to need to take a 75% pay cut. That is quite drastic, but perhaps in the short term that is a sound move as clubs are unable to generate revenue from games and television broadcasting rights. So something desperate is needed. If you want to save the entire sport, perhaps we need the most drastic of action. But in Horan's proposal, he's talking about saving Rugby Australia. Well, I appreciate that, him having been a Wallaby legend. I think he played 90 tests for the Wallabies. That's great for the Wallabies. What about rugby union around the world? Well, his suggestions also include eliminating South Africa from Super Rugby. I think that's going to be a bit of a problem because SANZAR is the governing body for that competition. It created it 25 years ago now. And I'm not so sure that limiting South Africa is the best plan. But that is among the drastic proposals that are being proposed or put out there for people to digest as rugby union struggles with this catastrophe. Not sure where it's going to go, hoping for the best, hoping we get to see the Sevens back. We've lost the Olympic Sevens for 2020 in Tokyo. They're now postponed till 2021. And the question of the HSBC 7 series is up in the air as well. The England or the London and the Paris Sevens tournaments, I haven't heard anything new on them, but I suspect they'll likely be postponed here very soon or canceled altogether. If Paris and London go, then we could probably expect to see Hong Kong and Singapore also follow suit not too long after that. The real challenge here is how long does this go? World Rugby and the wealthier rugby unions may have the resources to help the minnows and those in financial straits survive in the short term. But if this extends beyond summer in the Northern Hemisphere, June, July, August, we may very well see a radical reordering of rugby union around the world. That would be unfortunate, as the sport is at the top of its game, literally, in popularity, growing immensely around the world, and in the world's largest media and financial market, the United States, the professional version of the sport with Major League Rugby has caught on. So there you have it, folks. This is my first effort, the premiere of Rugby Ascendant. I appreciate comments. If you like it, please say so. Push that like button on your screen. And if you enjoy this content, feel free to subscribe to the channel. If you've got comments or suggestions or questions you'd like to talk about or other issues you'd like to see me raise, please do that. Rugby matters, folks. Let's hang in there. We'll all get through this together.